what really happens to your brain when you close your eyes at night. Most people think sleep is simply the body shutting down, but the truth is far more shocking and more hopeful. While your body rests, your brain is working harder than ever, running on a kind of night shift that determines your clarity, mood, memory, and even your future health. Most people think of sleep as a kind of pause button, as though the brain shuts down while the body lies still. But the truth is the exact opposite. Sleep is not passive at all. When you close your eyes and drift into the night, your brain becomes one of the busiest organs in your body, working tirelessly to repair, restore, and prepare you for the next day. This activity is not random. It is deeply purposeful and vital for your survival, your clarity, and your long-term health. During sleep, your brain engages in a unique cleaning process that doesn't happen when you are awake. Imagine your brain cells shrinking just slightly, making room for a cleansing fluid to wash through, flushing out toxins and waste products that build up during the day. These toxins include proteins linked to serious conditions like memory loss and neurodegenerative diseases. If you skip deep sleep, it's as if you forgot to take out the trash. Waste builds up, clouding your thinking, slowing your focus, and damaging your long-term brain health. But cleaning is just the beginning. Sleep is also when your brain repairs the microscopic connections between neurons that may have been stressed, overused, or damaged during waking hours. Think of each connection as a wire in a massive electrical network. Throughout the day, that network is overloaded with signals, information, and emotional surges. At night, the brain rewires, strengthens, and sometimes even prunes unnecessary connections, leaving behind a stronger, more efficient system. This repair process is what allows you to wake up with sharper memory, improved focus, and a sense of renewed energy. Your brain is also an editor while you sleep. It takes the millions of experiences, thoughts, and impressions from your day and organizes them into a coherent story. This is how memories are consolidated, how skills are embedded, and how learning becomes lasting. Without enough sleep, memories remain scattered and fragile, and even important lessons slip through the cracks. That's why students who stay up all night studying often perform worse than those who slept. The brain never had time to organize the knowledge into long-term memory. Beyond memory, sleep has a profound impact on emotional balance. The brain's limbic system, the part responsible for emotions, becomes hyperactive when you are sleep deprived. That's why minor inconveniences feel overwhelming and anxiety seems to intensify. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, which governs decision making and self control, becomes sluggish without rest. The result is a double hit, heightened emotions and weakened judgment. During healthy sleep, however, these brain systems recalibrate, making you calmer, more resilient, and more capable of handling stress. Sleep also fuels creativity. In the dreaming stages, your brain makes unusual connections, blending ideas in ways you never considered while awake. Some of history's most important breakthroughs were born in dreams because the sleeping brain was weaving together patterns and possibilities. So while your body may be still, your brain is performing essential maintenance, healing itself, creating order from chaos, and preparing you to thrive. Sleep is not wasted time. It is one of the most active and productive states your brain ever experiences. To neglect it is to rob yourself of clarity, peace, and health. To honor it is to give your brain the chance to become stronger, sharper, and more resilient with every passing night. When you drift into deep sleep, something extraordinary happens inside your brain, a cleansing process that does not take place when you are awake. Nighttime is when the brain detoxifies itself, clearing away harmful waste and toxins that quietly accumulate during the day. Imagine billions of nerve cells working, firing signals, processing thoughts, emotions, and decisions every waking moment. Just like a busy factory produces waste, your brain produces byproducts from all this constant activity. If they were left behind, they would begin to interfere with how smoothly the system operates. Sleep is the moment the brain's janitorial crew comes alive, restoring order and protecting you from long-term damage. One of the key systems is responsible for this is called the glymphatic system. It's like the brain's drainage system activated primarily during deep, restful sleep. When you fall into those slower brainwave states, the brain cells shrink slightly, opening space between them. Cerebrospinal fluid, a clear liquid that surrounds the brain, begins to wash through these channels, carrying away metabolic waste and harmful proteins. Among these are beta, amyloid, and tau proteins that in excess are linked to cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease. This cleansing doesn't happen nearly as effectively when you're awake, which means missing sleep is like leaving garbage uncollected. It starts to pile up, cluttering the system and slowly poisoning the environment. This nightly detoxification explains why even one night of poor sleep leaves you feeling foggy, irritable, and unable to think clearly. Your brain hasn't had time to take out the trash, so to speak. Multiply that over weeks, months, or years, and the buildup can become dangerous, contributing to memory problems, mood disorders, and long-term neurodegeneration. Sleep is not simply rest. It is an active, life-preserving reset for your most vital organ. The detoxification process also reduces inflammation in the brain throughout the day. Stress, poor diet, and environmental toxins can spark low-grade inflammation that disrupts normal signaling between neurons. During quality sleep, however, this inflammation is calmed, giving your brain a chance to recover and function with clarity the next day. Without this nightly reset, inflammation continues to smolder, increasing the risk of depression, anxiety, and even cardiovascular disease. Think of sleep as the brain's nighttime maintenance crew. It doesn't just sweep the floors, it repairs wiring, recharges batteries, and oils the gears that make thought and memory possible. If you don't allow the crew to work, the system breaks down. On the other hand, when you prioritize sleep, you allow your brain to heal from the wear and tear of the day and protect itself from long decline. The shocking truth is that your future clarity, memory, and even personality are being shaped each night by this detox process. Skipping sleep robs your brain of its most powerful full tool for protection, while honoring it allows you to wake up clearer, calmer, and more focused. Nighttime is not wasted time. It is sacred time when the brain works hardest to keep you alive, healthy, and fully yourself. Every night when you close your eyes, your brain is not simply shutting down. It is busily deciding what parts of your day become part of your lasting story and what parts fade away. Memories are consolidated during sleep, shaping who you are and what you will carry with you into tomorrow. It is one of the most fascinating processes in neuroscience because it shows that the person you wake up as is never exactly the same as the person who fell asleep. Throughout the day, your brain is flooded with information, conversations, emotions, images, tasks, and random details all compete for space in your short term memory. If you were to keep everything, your mind would become cluttered with unnecessary fragments, making it difficult to focus or learn. During sleep, particularly in deep and REM stages, the brain acts like a skilled editor. It carefully sifts through the vast archive of the day, choosing what is important, reinforcing it, and discarding the rest. What is judged to be valuable is transferred from short-term storage in the hippocampus to long-term networks across the cortex, where it becomes part of your permanent memory. This process is why students who study before bed and then sleep tend to retain information far better than those who pull all-nighters. Sleep doesn't just refresh energy, it writes knowledge into the brain's wiring. Skills, too, are polished at night. A musician practicing scales, an athlete rehearsing plays, or even someone learning to type faster will find that after a night of sleep, their performance improves. That is the hidden magic of memory consolidation. The brain is rehearsing, refining, and strengthening patterns without your conscious awareness. Sleep also weaves together emotional experiences with logical understanding. If you faced stress, conflict, or joy during the day, your brain processes it at night, helping you make sense of it and preparing you to respond more wisely the next time. Without this processing, emotions remain raw, unresolved, and easily triggered. Dreams often reflect this sorting process, blending fragments of memory into symbolic stories that help your brain file away what it has learned and felt. When sleep is cut short or fragmented, this delicate editing is disrupted. Important details may fail to transfer into long-term memory, leaving you forgetful or confused. Emotional regulation suffers, making you more reactive and less resilient. Over time, poor sleep becomes one of the strongest predictors of cognitive decline, not just because the brain isn't resting, but because it isn't properly recording the story of your life. Every night, your brain is shaping your identity, your intelligence, and your emotional wisdom through memory consolidation. The facts you recall, the lessons you carry, the relationships you understand, all of it is strengthened in the quiet hours of sleep. To protect your memory is to protect your future self. And that protection happens not in the classroom, not in the office, not in the gym, but in the sacred hours when your eyes are closed and your brain is writing tomorrow's version of you. When sleep falls out of balance, the effects ripple through every corner of your brain and body, often more dramatically than most people realize. Sleep is the brain's primary reset button. The time when it recalibrates emotional stability, refuels attention, and protects itself from long-term wear and tear. When that cycle is disrupted, whether through too little sleep, inconsistent schedules, or poor quality rest, the consequences are profound. Mood swings, lack of focus, and even long-term brain decline all begin to unfold silently, shaping how you think, feel, and live. The first place sleep imbalance shows itself is in your emotions. Without proper rest, the brain's limbic system, particularly the amygdala, becomes hyperactive. This is the region that processes fear, anger, and emotional intensity. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for logic, self-control, and rational decision making, becomes sluggish. That imbalance is why small frustrations feel overwhelming when you are sleep deprived. It is why anxiety seems sharper, irritability rises, and sadness feels heavier. Sleep restores balance between these systems, giving you emotional resilience. Without it, you are on an emotional roller coaster you never asked to ride. Focus is another casualty of poor sleep. Concentration, learning, and productivity all depend on the brain's ability to filter distractions and hold information in working memory. When you are deprived of deep or REM sleep, your brain loses efficiency. It struggles to lock onto tasks, making you more likely to procrastinate or make careless mistakes. Even reaction times slow, which is why drowsy driving can be as dangerous as drunk driving. The fogginess you feel after a restless night is not just fatigue. It is a measurable decline in the brain's ability to process and prioritize information. Over time, this lack of clarity chips away at your confidence and performance in work, relationships, and personal goals. But the most sobering consequence of chronic sleep imbalance is it's linked to long-term brain decline. Sleep is when the glymphatic system activates, flushing out toxins like beta amyloid that build up during the day. Without consistent deep sleep, these harmful proteins accumulate, increasing the risk of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. It is not just memory that is at stake, but the very health of the brain's structure and function. Studies consistently show that people with long-term sleep deprivation age faster cognitively, experiencing earlier and steeper declines in memory, reasoning, and problem solving. The irony is that many people dismiss sleep as optional, something to cut back on to get more done. Yet in reality, poor sleep robs you of efficiency, happiness, and health. Mood swings make you harder to live with. A lack of focus limits what you achieve, and silent degeneration creeps in over the years, eroding the very organ you depend on most. Sleep is not wasted time. It is the foundation of clarity, balance, and longevity. To ignore it is to invite decline. To honor it is to protect your brain and your future self. Each night of quality rest is an investment in a sharper, calmer, more resilient tomorrow. Quality sleep is not just about waking up refreshed. It is the invisible foundation on which emotional stability, clear decision making, and creativity are built. When you allow your body and brain to cycle through the proper stages of deep and REM sleep, you are giving yourself access to a kind of mental reset that cannot be replicated in any other way. This reset is what equips you to face challenges with composure, make wise choices, and even tap into creative insights that remain out of reach when you are tired. Sleep is not passive rest. It is active brain work that shapes who you are when you wake. One of the most powerful effects of quality sleep is emotional balance. The brain is constantly managing emotions, and when you are rested, the prefrontal cortex, the part that governs self-control and rational thought, works in harmony with the amygdala, which processes emotional responses. Without sleep, the amygdala becomes overactive and the prefrontal cortex less effective, creating a storm of irritability, anxiety, or mood swings. That is why small annoyances feel unbearable when you are sleep deprived. A good night's rest recalibrates the system, calming the emotional centers and strengthening your ability to respond with patience and resilience. It doesn't just change your mood, it changes your relationships, your work, and your ability to handle stress with grace. Decision making is also sharpened through quality sleep. Every day, your brain is bombarded with choices, from the small, what to eat, what to say, to the significant career moves, financial decisions, and personal commitments. These decisions require focus, clarity, and the ability to weigh long-term consequences over short-term impulses. Sleep allows your brain to process information, file away unnecessary noise, and strengthen the connections that help you evaluate risks and rewards. Without this reset, your mind defaults to shortcuts, impulsive choices, and reduced problem solving ability. In contrast, when you are well rested, you can step back, analyze with clarity, and make decisions that align with your values and goals. Creativity may be the most underestimated gift of sleep. During REM sleep, the brain activates in ways that are strikingly similar to wakeful thought, but without the rigid constraints of logic. This is when dreams occur. And it is also when the brain makes unusual connections, blending ideas and memories in ways you wouldn't consciously imagine. History is full of breakthroughs discovered in dreams, from scientific insights to artistic masterpieces, because the sleeping brain was weaving patterns that the waking brain could not see. Quality sleep nourishes this creative capacity, allowing you to return to problems with fresh solutions and new perspectives. When you think of sleep as optional, you rob yourself of these gifts. Emotional chaos, poor decisions, and creative blocks are not personal flaws. They are often the direct result of a tired brain. Prioritizing sleep is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to unlock emotional strength, wise judgment, and innovative thinking. Each night of quality rest is an investment not only in your health, but in the best version of yourself, the version capable of building a life of clarity, balance, and brilliance. Healing your sleep habits is one of the most powerful yet overlooked ways to transform your brain health and, by extension, your entire life. Too often, sleep is treated as negotiable, something that can be sacrificed to meet deadlines, binge on entertainment, or squeeze in extra hours of work. Yet the truth is, nothing can replace the restorative power of a good night's sleep. It is during those quiet hours of rest that your brain detoxifies, repairs itself, consolidates memories, regulates emotions, and prepares you to meet the next day with clarity and strength. By healing the way you approach sleep, you are not just fixing fatigue, you are rewiring the very foundation of your mind and body. The brain is a living, dynamic organ, and sleep is its time for maintenance. When you neglect sleep, harmful proteins and toxins begin to accumulate, disrupting clear thinking and setting the stage for cognitive decline. Chronic poor sleep is linked to memory loss, depression, anxiety, and even neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's disease. But when you begin to honor your body's need for consistent quality rest, you give the glymphatic system, a sort of nighttime cleaning crew, the opportunity to flush these toxins out. Within just a few weeks of improved sleep, many people report sharper memory, clearer focus, and a noticeable boost in mood. It's proof that the brain is ready to heal when given the chance. Sleep is also the time when your emotional brain resets. Without enough of it, the amygdala, the part of your brain that handles fear and stress, goes into overdrive, making you more reactive and less resilient. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought and self control, becomes less effective. The result is mood swings, irritability, and even increased risk of depression or anxiety. Healing your sleep habits restores balance between these regions, giving you emotional stability, patience, and resilience. This is why, after a full night's sleep, problems that seemed overwhelming the night before often feel manageable in the morning. Another life-changing benefit of healing sleep habits is the restoration of creativity and problem-solving ability. During REM sleep, the brain weaves connections between ideas and experiences, often leading to breakthroughs that feel like sudden inspiration. Artists, inventors, and scientists alike have credited dreams and sleep for their best ideas. By giving yourself enough time to complete full sleep cycles, you allow your brain to access this creative space more consistently, enhancing your ability to innovate and think outside the box. The transformation goes beyond the brain. Quality sleep regulates hormones, stabilizes blood sugar, supports the immune system, and even promotes healthy weight. It is the cornerstone of overall vitality. Healing your sleep habits means committing to regular sleep and wake times, creating a restful environment, reducing stimulants and screen time before bed, and embracing routines that tell your body it is safe to rest. These are not small lifestyle tweaks. They are investments in a healthier, sharper, more energized version of yourself. In the end, sleep is not wasted time. It is sacred time. To heal your sleep habits is to heal your brain. And in doing so, you unlock the potential for a clearer mind, a calmer heart, and a life lived with greater energy and purpose. Each night is a chance to transform, and the choice to embrace it is yours.